Welcome to Whale Facts. Today we're flying north for 30 little known, totally snackable facts about Canada. Over the next 15 minutes, you'll meet record-breaking coastlines, a walled city straight out of Europe, and a postal code that literally belongs to Santa. We'll dip into Arctic towns, giant lakes, and syrup secrets, all backed by reputable sources and explained in plain English. Expect quick cuts, clean numbers, and zero fluffs. Ready? Grab a warm drink, imagine the northern lights overhead, and let's start at the water's edge, because almost everything in Canada eventually meets the sea. Along the way we'll bust a few myths, flag uncertainties where experts still debate, and show you the quirky traditions Canadians cherish from coast to coast to coast. Fact 1. Canada's coastline is the longest on Earth, about 243,042 kilometers when you trace every bay, inlet, and icy fjord. It touches 3 oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic, wrapping around thousands of islands from Vancouver Island to Baffin and the Queen Elizabeth Group. If you walk 10 kilometers a day every day, you'd still need decades. That coastline shapes weather, wildlife, shipping routes, and so much of Canadian identity and tourism. Fact 2. Canada and the United States share the world's longest international land border, about 8,890 kilometers, from the Atlantic, across the Great Lakes and prairies, to the Pacific and up to Alaska. There are no walls, just markers, ports of entry, and a maintained border vista cut through forests. The International Boundary Commission, created in 1908, keeps the line surveyed and visible, a quiet piece of infrastructure that most travelers never notice. Fact 3. Canada is a lake superpower. It has more large lakes than any other country, including 563 that exceed 100 square kilometers. Add in the shared Great Lakes and you're looking at a freshwater titan. Those 5 lakes alone hold about 18% of the world's fresh surface lake water. Lakes shape local climates, power hydroelectric stations, feed rivers, and provide epic canoe routes that have doubled as highways for centuries past. Fact 4. So how many lakes are there, really? Exact counts are tricky, but Canada's Atlas estimates about 31,752 lakes that are at least 3 square kilometers. Mapping methods and definitions vary, so treat it as an estimate. What is clear? Nearly 9% of Canada's area is covered by freshwater, lakes, rivers, and reservoirs. That watery footprint influences ecosystems, transportation, recreation, and even the national psyche every summer weekend at the cottage. Fact 5. Old Quebec looks like a time capsule because it's the only North American city north of Mexico with intact stone ramparts. Walk the star-shaped defenses, gates, and cliff-top citadel, and you'll see why UNESCO protects the district. The walls weren't just military. They channeled growth and shaped neighborhoods. Today they frame festivals, winter carnivals, and sunset strolls that feel more old world than anything else on the continent to visitors. Fact 6. Canada couldn't pick just one national sport, so it officially has 2. Ice hockey is the national winter sport, and lacrosse is the national summer sport, thanks to the 1994 National Sports of Canada Act. That pairing links modern arenas and ancient Indigenous stickball traditions. It also explains why kids carry hockey backs in January and lacrosse sticks in June. Different seasons, same competitive spirit, same loud arena snacks and chants. Fact 7. At 82.5 degrees north, alert, Nunavut is the world's northernmost continuously inhabited community. It sits just 817 kilometers from the North Pole, closer to it than to Ottawa. Military, scientific, and weather stations keep people rotating in year-round. Life here means polar night, brutal wind chill, and logistics by air. Yet even at the top of the world you'll find gin nights, shared meals, and humor that beats the cold most days. Fact 8. Canadians love to brag about the Bay of Fundy's towering tides, but measurements suggest parts of remote Ungava Bay may edge even higher. Different methods, locations, and tidal ranges complicate the crown, so scientists continue to compare datasets. Either way, both places can swing vertically like a building. Risk/uncertainty. Rankings may change as survey techniques improve. Safe bet. Fundy remains the world's most accessible, dramatic tidal show for travelers and photographers. Fact 9. You can actually mail Santa and he writes back. Canada Post runs a beloved program where letters addressed to Santa Claus, North Pole, H0H0H0 get replies in many languages, including Braille. Kids include wish lists or drawings. Volunteers respond with a warm, personalized note. Within Canada, no stamp is needed, just a return address. It's a playful civic ritual that turns a postal code into pure holiday magic each winter. Fact 10. Canada is officially bilingual at the federal level. English and French have equal status in Parliament, courts, and federal services, reflecting history and the country's constitutional framework. Bilingual product labels, government websites, and airline announcements aren't just courtesy. They're law. Many Canadians are functionally bilingual, especially in Quebec and parts of New Brunswick and Ontario, while other regions are dominantly English. Translation. Navigating Ottawa means navigating two living languages, often in the same sentence. Fact 11. Meet Manitoulin Island, the world's largest island in a freshwater lake. Floating in Lake Huron, it's big enough to hold dozens of communities, farms, and forests, and lakes of its own with little islands inside them. It's a layers within layers geography lesson. An island in a lake with lakes with islands. Add Indigenous heritage sites, hiking to lookouts, and quiet beaches, and you get a landscape that feels both remote and wonderfully lived in. Fact 12. When Toronto CN Tower opened in 1976, it claimed the title of the world's tallest freestanding structure at 553 meters. Built to improve communications, it became a skyline icon and a test of bravery. Glass floor panels and the outdoor edgewalk offer vertigo with a view, while the revolving restaurant slowly spins over one of North America's biggest cityscapes. It's not the global tallest anymore, but it's still an engineering flex and a must-see. Fact 13. Every winter, the Rideau Canal in Ottawa transforms into the world's largest skating rink, a 7.8-kilometer ribbon gliding through the capital's heart. Locals commute on blades, tourists wobble happily, and beaver tails pastries fuel everybody. Weather rules everything. Some seasons are shorter or rarely cancelled if the ice won't set. UNESCO recognized the canal's historic value year-round. But for Canadians, the skateway is winter joy distilled into a citywide, community ice party. Fact 14. Maple syrup isn't just breakfast. It's a national industry and a cultural season. Canada typically produces around 3/4 of the world's maple syrup, with Quebec leading the charge. Spring means sugar shacks, sap runs, entire d'érable. Hot syrup poured on snow rolled into taffy. Weather swings, tree halts, and regulation can nudge yearly output, but the ritual stays the same. Buckets, tubing, boilers, and that unmistakable amber sweetness on pancakes or snow. Fact 15. Churchill, Manitoba calls itself the polar bear capital of the world, for good reason. Each fall, bears migrate along Hudson Bay, waiting for sea ice to form so they can hunt seals. That timing brings them close to town, where specially designed tundra vehicles keep visitors safe while minimizing stress on wildlife. The town also attracts beluga whales in summer and northern lights in winter, making Churchill a rare, triple-threat Arctic destination. Fact 16. Banff National Park, established in 1885, was Canada's first national park and the launchpad for a protected areas network spanning mountains, prairies, forests, and coasts. Banff blends hot springs history, castle-like hotels, emerald lakes, and wildlife corridors engineered to help animals cross highways safely. The famous Icefields Parkway links one postcard to another. Come for the turquoise water and elk. Stay for the lesson in how conservation and tourism can mostly coexist. Fact 17. Canada's maple leaf flag is a relative newcomer. Adopted in 1965 after intense national debate, it replaced the red ensign and gave Canadians a bold, unmistakable identity. A single red maple leaf flanked by 2 bars. The design echoes the country's geography, from sea to sea, and appears everywhere, from backpacks to hockey arenas. Each year on February 15th, Canadians mark National Flag of Canada Day to celebrate that crisp, modern symbol. Fact 18. Meet the loonie and the toonie coins with personality. The $1 coin launched in 1987 with a common loon on one side, and the nickname loonie stuck instantly. When the bimetal $2 coin arrived in 1996, Canadians jokingly dubbed it the toonie. 2 loonies. Both helped shift everyday purchases from paper to metal, and special commemorative designs keep collectors busy. If you ride transit, buy coffee, or tip a street musician, you'll hear them clink. Fact 19. Money mascots go beyond birds. The beaver, once the engine of the fur trade, is an official national symbol featured on the 5-cent coin. That humble nickel nods to an animal that literally reshaped watersheds with dams and lodges, and figuratively helped finance early exploration and settlement. Modern conservation brought beavers back from overtrapping, so today they're both construction crews for wetlands and the star of countless dad jokes about busy Canadian engineers. Fact 20. Canada's languages are living, shifting, and deeply diverse. Beyond English and French, dozens of Indigenous languages persist, from Inuktitut varieties in the Arctic to Cree and Ojibwe across the prairies and Great Lakes. Census snapshots show revitalization efforts alongside challenges like aging speaker populations and undercounting in remote regions. Risk/uncertainty. Totals vary by method and participation. The big picture. Communities are training teachers, creating immersion programs, and recording elders to keep voices alive. Fact 21. Niagara Falls is more than postcard mist. It's raw hydropower shaped into spectacle. At Horseshoe Falls, peak flows can surge into the thousands of cubic meters per second, thundering over a 50-plus meter drop. Engineers divert some water for electricity, while agreements preserve the show for visitors. The terrace view, boat rides, and winter ice formations make it feel alive in every season. Proof that geology and policy can choreograph a natural giant. Fact 22. Think of Hudson Bay as an inland sea breathing with the seasons. At roughly the size of Western Europe's largest countries, it freezes in winter, unlocking in summer to become a crossroads for beluga whales, seabirds, and Arctic communities. Its shallow depth and vast watershed influence weather far inland. Sailors, scientists, and Inuit knowledge holders read its ice and currents like a book, one that's still writing new chapters in a warming climate. Fact 23. A different kind of longest runs on asphalt, the Trans-Canada Highway. Depending on which spurs you count, the system stretches roughly 7,500 to 7,800 kilometers, linking St. John's in Newfoundland and Labrador to Victoria, British Columbia. It threads forests, prairie grain elevators, mountain passes, and ferry crossings. You'll find giant roadside attractions, moose warning signs, and diners with perfect pie. It's not just a road trip. It's a stitched-together portrait of a continent-sized country. Fact 24. Nunavut became a territory on April 1, 1999, one of the biggest political map changes of the late 20th century. Created through Inuit land claim agreements and decades of advocacy, it carved out a government designed to reflect northern realities. Vast distances, small communities, and powerful ties to land and sea. Inuktitut languages hold official status, traditional knowledge informs policy, and the territorial capital, Iqaluit, pulses with a mix of snowmobiles, satellite dishes, and sled dogs. Fact 25. The Northwest Territories license plates are shaped like a polar bear, an instantly recognizable silhouette that's equal parts branding and pride. Debuting in 1970, the plate's blue and white gradient hints at ice and sky, while the cut-out edges echo fur and paws. Visitors spot them on rental trucks and snap photos at gas stations. It's a rare case where a government-issued rectangle said, "Now let's have fun," and a northern icon rolled onto every highway. Fact 26. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP, are more than red surge and musical rides. They're the federal police service and through contracts, provide provincial or territorial policing in most regions except Ontario and Quebec. That means one force tackles everything from cybercrime to rural patrols, wildfire evacuations, and major investigations. The modern RCMP also wrestles with reform, reconciliation, and community trust. An evolving brief that stretches far beyond the postcard image of scarlet tunics on horseback. Fact 27. Old Quebec isn't just walled. It's UNESCO listed. The historic district of Old Quebec preserves fortifications, convents, steep lanes, and the clifftop citadel in one remarkably intact urban ensemble. Stand at the Dufferin Terrace and you see layers of French and British influence braided into the St. Lawrence River's trade story. Street performers, cafes, and festivals use heritage as a stage set, proving a living city can keep its medieval bones without freezing in time. Fact 28. Canada's motto, Amari Usque ad mare, Latin for from sea to sea, first appeared in 1906 and became official in 1921 with the coat of arms. Today it reads like cartographic truce Atlantic to Pacific, and many argue spiritually to the Arctic as well. You'll spot it on government buildings, passports and plaques. The phrase packs a quiet punch, summarizing distance, ambition, and that stubborn coastal pull that shows up in policy and poetry alike. Fact 29. Poutine's origin story is gloriously messy, like the dish itself. Quebec snack bars in the late 1950s claim bragging rights. Warwick and Drummondville lead the contenders. The core is simple: hot fries, squeaky fresh cheese curds, and brown gravy that melts everything into comfort food alchemy. Purists want curds that squeak. Innovators add pulled pork, smoked meat, or butter chicken. However you stack it, Poutine went from roadside oddity to global Canadian calling card. Fact 30. Season script Canadian life. Winter means canal skating and curling bonspiels. Spring brings maple steam rising from sugar shacks. Summer fires up salmon runs, cottage docks, and music festivals. Autumn paints whole valleys in sugar maple red. These rhythms stitch facts together. The lakes we paddled, the wildlife we watched, the highways we drove, and the languages we heard. To understand Canada, follow the calendar, and pack for at least 3 weather swings a day. That's 30 little-known big personality facts. Coastlines measured in lifetimes, walls guarding a new world city, coins with nicknames, and letters to Santa that actually get answered. If you love this quick tour, hit like, share it with a friend who says, "Eh," and subscribe to Whale Facts. We'll dive deeper into Indigenous languages, the tides rivalry, and Arctic life in future episodes. Drop your favorite Canada fact in the comments, and tell us where to explore next.